Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Starbucks. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Jim Rosati. Jim, what's up?
What's up? Good morning. Good morning. I'm back. Neil had to fill in for me last week, which was nice. That was
Did a
good.
good job, too.
He did. I ended up watching it. It was a good show.
I want to make sure that came off as like I was shocked. Like Neil did a good job. I wasn't shocked, but Neil
No,
did a really good job. Thank you, Neil, for filling in. Good show. But
absolutely.
yes, now you have returned. You're back to work, not being lazy, as Neil said. So welcome
Yep.
back.
It's good to be back. Nothing better than waking up early on a Monday to talk about Pirates off season.
We get to talk about the Rule 5 drafts. This is exciting stuff, Jim. I'm sure you couldn't get to sleep last night.
Oh yeah, it's like Christmas morning.
You know, it's funny is like last week we talked like it's exciting. The off season's here. Like as Pirates fans, we're back, right? You had the postseason, you can just like step away, not really pay much attention to because wasn't much the Pirates could do. Right now, the off season's here, and well, I mean, it's also baseball off season, so there's not going to be much to talk about for like the next month. Still,
Yeah. I don't know what all we'll see here before winter meetings. There's definitely some things that have to happen this week, and we'll get to it. So the Pirates have some moves to make by Tuesday. But yeah, other than that, like I don't know how many free agency signings we'll see in the next month. I'm really curious to see. You've got this whole unknown about these RSNs too.
mm-hmm.
I'm curious on if that affects free agency. I know you and Tyler hit on it last week a little bit, but these teams, you had a source of income that was set in stone prior to this, and now
Right.
you've got some teams out there who aren't exactly sure how much they're going to make on their TV rights. And when you get unknowns like that, does it cause some people to maybe tighten the purse strings a bit because they're not really sure how they're going to do? So I guess we'll see.
It's just weird because I feel like every year, I mean, since COVID, like you've been having this situation, like are teams going to spend? Are they not? Are they more cost conscious? But I mean, you definitely see teams, I mean, go all out. Like you've seen all the off seasons, and there's certainly been. I mean, look at the Padres last year, obviously, right? One of the teams for sure,
Right.
that you normally wouldn't see. But right, that's what's making this offseason what it is and kind of unique. It's like what teams will spend, what teams won't, and how's that going to affect certain players, certain markets. We're going to find out. It on the other end of this, right? The Cubs just couldn't spend. The Cubs were broke. They couldn't spend. Trade everyone off. That's all you heard. It seems like as if the Cubs found some money this offseason, apparently, because like it sounds like they're one of the teams that's going to go all in. I mean, they're connected to Ohtani. Then there's words last night they're connected to Rhys Hoskins, a Juan Soto potential trade. I mean, they're in on anything and everything right now. So doesn't seem as maybe like it's affecting them.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Pirates, the Cubs seem to be in a pretty good spot. They've got their own TV network, right, with the whole marquee sports thing. So, they're set there. They've got the prospect capital to make a big trade if they want to. They stocked up on their in their minor league system over the last few years, and it's a good system, and they can use those guys to acquire major league talent if they want. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I have a feeling the Cubs are going to make some big moves this offseason just because they're linked to so many things. But yeah, let's let's hope that Shohei Ohtani isn't a Cub. That's just like the one thing I hope for, because like I love Shohei Ohtani, love watching that guy play baseball. Playing against him 15 times a year would be heartbreaking.
Yeah. Also less than ideal. And
Less than ideal, yeah.
you also say 15 times. the way the Cubs are projecting, the way that you hope the Pirates are projecting, might be 16 times. You don't want that 16th time to happen either.
No, I don't want to play Ohtani at all. I'd prefer to just stay away from him.
Yeah, like
Go to stay in the American League.
Like the dreams have been crushed because as well. Like we've had the Arenado, we've had Madison Bumgarner. We don't need the Ohtani game in the near future either. So, yeah, I'm with you. It's one of those things where it's like, damn it. I mean, I'm just looking at this whole division and it just reminds me so much of like 2012, 2013, 2014. I mean, think about this. Like the NL Central was actually very competitive. It's garbage right now. But like the Cubs are coming, the Reds are coming, the Pirates are coming. Maybe Milwaukee's like having this little quick retool that you've kind of talked about too. Like maybe not right now, but in a few years they'll be good again. And it's like you might have like a 3, possibly like 4-headed monster, and the Cardinals are still the Cardinals. Like it's coming. Why? Why?
Yeah, you do look at the division and you're like all 5 of these teams I think are primed to be pretty good the next handful of years or so. The Cardinals aren't going to be in last place for forever. Like they're going to make moves this offseason to change that. The Cubs, like you mentioned, they're going to spend. They've got the prospects to like if they want to develop their guys and stick with their guys, they've got them. If they want to trade them for major league talent, they can do that too. The Brewers obviously going to do this little mini rebuild here, but they've got a ton of talent too in the upper levels of the minors that are ready to go. And the Reds, we saw them call up a ton of guys last year. So that's a super young team that you got to expect is only going to get better as they supplement that roster with
they only
free
have
agents.
more to go to.
Yeah. So it's it's going to be tough here. I don't think any of these teams are going to be like 100-win teams, but you're going to have to deal with all 5 teams in the division capable of putting up winning records.
Sure.
At least.
And honestly, like to your point, I don't think anyone was looking at the 2012 Pirates and saying, I don't think there's a 100-win team in this,
No.
in this organization coming, and the Pirates go and win 98. I mean, things could happen, right? But there's certainly potential. But absolutely, it's kind of heartbreaking watching these teams get better, the Cubs being one of them, and now you're hearing the Cubs linked to everybody. And you know what? There was a report, I don't know how true this was, right? But there was like a report that Darvish was kind of in Shohei Ohtani's ear, kind of talking like into the Cubs and buying into the Cubs and how great of an organization that is and this and that. So yeah, it's sad. But at any rate, we don't have to talk about the Cubs and be sad. We can talk about the Pirates and be sad if you want.
Yeah, let's do that too.
Okay. I guess let's start off with the I know the Rule 5 draft's coming. Let's get to that. Let's table out for a little bit. I think there was hotter news per se this weekend that a lot of Pirates fans were in discussion over. I don't want to say it was like so controversial, but to the degree it was. We talked about the Gold Glove Award. Ke'Bryan Hayes won it, right? He won the Gold Glove Award for third base. Congratulations, Ke'Bryan Hayes. The fan voting took place for the Platinum Award. That was announced on Saturday night about 11 o'clock. And Ke'Bryan Hayes didn't win. It was awarded to, in the NL, of course, Fernando Tatis Jr. And I don't want to say like rightfully so. Like I get it, right? It's the hometown. Ke'Bryan Hayes had an outstanding season. I know a lot of Pirate fans seem upset. Ke'Bryan Hayes was robbed. Jim, was Ke'Bryan Hayes really, really robbed, even if it was the fan voting?
I guess it depends on how you say robbed. Like, was Ke'Bryan Hayes deserving of this award? Yeah. Like, I think there would have been a handful of guys that you could have said who won this award, and said they absolutely deserved it. And Ke'Bryan Hayes was one of those guys for sure. Fernando Tatis Jr. was another one of those guys. They moved him to right field this year, and he was just outstanding out there. I think Fernando Tatis Jr. led the National League in outs above average, if I'm correct. So there's
Not outs above average, but defensive run saved he did.
defensive run saved. Okay, so there's statistics all around that you could say, oh, Tatis deserves it. Oh, Hayes deserves it. Was it a popularity contest? I think you've got to kind of take a step back and say, first off, the American League winner was Andres Gimenez.
Who?
Well-known, very popular Cleveland Guardians, Andres Gimenez. If it was a popularity contest, Andres Gimenez would not have won the Platinum Glove. So I think the fans did an okay job here. And then Tatis Jr., same thing. Like, I don't know about you, but the overall sentiment that I get about this jersey up above my shoulder here
That's
is
right.
that most people don't like him. Like, fans don't like Fernando Tatis Jr. The dude was suspended in 2022 for steroids, PEDs. So, like, he's not a very popular figure among non-Padres fans, really, at this moment in time. So,
Sir, I just want to say something because bring this back home. Think about Starling Marte when he was popped. Was he also well liked at home? Like with what you're saying, I'm sure
right,
there's might be a small, but like there's certainly a sentiment of fans that are Padres fans that probably don't like him either.
that's true, probably. But yeah, popularity contest, like, fans don't like Fernando Tatis Jr. Like, fans of other teams don't like him. So I don't think you can. I think you have you absolutely have a reason to be disappointed that Hayes didn't win this award. I think he was well deserving of it. He won the Fielding Bible's Defensive Player of the Year, right, for the league. So there was another entity that gave him basically this type of award. The fans decided Tatis was better though. So yeah, definitely. I don't know if snub is the right word to use. He was well deserving. Tatis was well deserving. It sucks. It would have been nice to see Hayes win it, and I think he'll win it eventually. Like, I think people are starting to take notice that Brian Hayes is really, really, really good defensively, and if he can keep it up offensively, that's only going to bring more attention to his defense. So we'll see how he does. If he can put up another year, like he had been the last few months of the season, this could be an award he wins next year.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because there definitely is
I
some
am with you.
popularity involved.
Of course, it's fan voting, and I don't have a problem with this. That's the other thing, because ultimately, Jim, when you are talking resumes and you're talking Hall of Fame, you're just talking whatever. Do you bring up Platinum Glove or do you bring up Gold Glove?
Right. That's Gold Glove.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm alluding to. This is just the vote for the fan. This is just something that Rawlings incorporates the fans for. Cool, right? I think I'm talking more about Gold Gloves. Like, that's more prestigious. Platinum is just, I mean, it still means something, right? But it's the Gold Gloves everyone talks about. Like, do you remember who won the Platinum Glove 3 years ago?
Nolan Arenado.
Okay. For the
Just
AL, because that's very easy because it was either him or Yachty.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Okay. So that's kind of my point. It's not as if this is so prestigious that, like, you remember who MVP was, you remember who Cy Young was, do you remember the Platinum Glove winner? No. Right? It's just a fun way to incorporate fans. Cool. Right? Just is what it is. But in the same sense, the fans kind of got it right. That's where I'm at also. The number of people I saw, air quotes, right, crying that it wasn't Brian Hayes, it just ain't right. Like, Fernando Tatis Jr. led all of MLB in defensive runs saved. He actually tied, and I pointed this out. I forget who it was on Twitter that checked me and got this, because I didn't realize this, because, of course, like, Fangraphs breaks it up by position, so it wasn't so much on my radar. But Dalton Varsho. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Dalton Varsho actually also had 29 because of left field and center field for the AL. So actually, you could say he was robbed for the AL side if you really want to. But Fernando Tatis Jr. led all of baseball with 29 defensive runs saved. Next man up after him in the NL was Ke'Bryan Hayes, but at 21. And what I want to say too is Ke'Bryan Hayes did miss time because of obviously the injury, right? So he only had 1,037 plate innings. But like Fernando Tatis led all of MLB by missing almost a month's time also because of that suspension that you mentioned. Again, rightfully so. Like he deserved to lose a month's time. But like Fernando Tatis came after the suspension, played a brand new position he's never played before, and led baseball in defensive run save. Like super, super impressive season by Fernando Tatis Jr. And like think of this other end. If it was Ke'Bryan Hayes, you could absolutely have an argument that Tatis Jr. was robbed also. So more to your point that, yeah, like Hayes was deserving of it, but so was others. Like it's not as if this is just a like a Nolan Arenado, Ke'Bryan Hayes type of 2022 season.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I mean, you can kind of look at like kind of what the fans did. The fans picked the top two guys in defensive run saved at the end of the day. Like that's what they used as their measurement. And if that's what they wanted to use as their measurement, then I can't argue it. Like there's a lot of defensive statistics out there, right?
Sure.
And I don't know which one's better. I don't know if defensive run saved is better than outs above averaged or defensive WAR or any of that stuff, right? Like pick and choose which one you want, because we don't really have enough data yet to say definitively which one's the best, right?
Right.
So yeah, if you go to Fangraphs, you click on fielding and you sort by defensive run saved, Tatis is 1, Gimenez is 2 in all of baseball. So,
and if you sort it by team, Blue Jays is 1, Brewers is 2, which is what with the team vote, right? The team award. The Brewers got it.
Yeah.
They're the second best team in baseball when it comes to defensive run save. Like it's just not, again, like where I'm at is like none of this should be shocking at all. Because there's clear reference points like you're talking about to show that this is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So
now Hayes is third. Like Hayes is the next guy on that list, but
yeah,
it sucks. I mean, Hayes had an outstanding defensive season. He's going to win one of these, but I agree with you. Like the Gold Glove is what matters. This award was created 13 years ago. Like it's a new thing that they did to just get the fans involved.
Which is cool. It certainly serves its purpose.
At the end of the day, though, if Ke'Bryan Hayes can reel off like 12 Gold Gloves, he'll win one of these. He'll win one of these eventually.
Yep. And the 12 Gold Gloves is what really matters. So 1 of 12 so far. So yeah, I guess that's that. Just calm down. It's okay. Yes, it is somewhat of a popularity contest, but this wasn't just as if it was who's the most popular person, because as your point proved, none of these guys should be. And the second point is there's also merit. Like it was deserving. So
yeah, I said it just depends on what statistic you use. And the fans used defensive run saved. That was the way they measured it. The majority of fans who voted used that as a measurement.
There it is. All right, cool. So should we move on to the Rule 5 draft now?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So much like Ben Cherington's tenure, a lot of guys that are up for the Rule 5 draft eligible. I think this year is much different than other like Rule 5 drafts, though. Well, I shouldn't say like Rule 5 drafts, but different than other years and like who you're going to protect, because I don't think it's that interesting. So Jim, why don't you lead us off with this? Who do you think the Pirates? Well, maybe just talk about who's like kind of eligible this year.
Yeah, so I actually wrote an article last night. If you want to read on the new NS9 blog, NorthShore9.com.
This was your layup, your alley-oop.
There's a post up there previewing the Rule 5 eligible prospects, so make sure you check that out. But I break it up as far as like who needs to be added, who probably won't be added, and maybe not their first time eligible either. And then also, who's newly eligible, but probably still not being added. So let's start with the guys who are newly eligible. There's quite a list of players here. I'll hit up the ones that are, I don't know, maybe relevant here, but Jase Bowen, Tsung-Che Cheng, running through Hudson Head, Brennan Malone. These are basically just guys that you probably have heard of before. Sammy Siani, Enmanuel Terrero. That's it as far as like relevant guys, newly relevant. And then as far as guys who were eligible last year, who are still eligible, Andres Alvarez, Braxton Ashcraft, Carter Binns, Michael Escato, J.C. Flowers, Matt Frazier, Matt Gorski, Dario Lopez, Rodolfo Nolasco, Connor Scott. Let's kind of leave it at that's basically our list there. So out of those guys, who has to be added? I think as far as the newly eligible people go, there's really just one name that sticks out as far as like he needs to be added to the list, and that's Tsung-Che Cheng.
Yep.
He's someone who has the position versatility, plays all around the diamond. He's a shortstop, plays it well. He can play second base, he can play third base. He's someone that he has the tool set that if you're like a bad baseball team and you want to use him as a utility infielder for a full season, you could probably get away with it next year. If you're a competitive baseball team or a team that's hoping to be competitive, he's probably not in your not in your radar to be a major leaguer next season. So I don't think the Pirates are looking for Tsung-Che Cheng to provide any value, but yeah, Tsung-Che Cheng, I think, is a must add. He had a really good year in Greensboro before getting promoted to Altoona. Wasn't quite as good at Altoona, but he was also still just 21 years old. He just turned 22. He's got some time to adjust to the level. He's kind of in the same stage of his career that like Peguero was when he got to that AA Altoona level. So I would imagine Cheng goes back to Altoona next year, but definitely someone that needs to be added to the 40-man. He just has too good of a tool set to expose him in this draft. Plain and simple.
Yeah, for sure. This is the guy where it'd be tough drafting him because, like you said, he is young. He struggled quite a bit in AA. Now he turned on a little bit, towards the end, so it wasn't like as bad per se. But like didn't have like a really good solid season in AA, right? And just hit AA. But he's talented. Like you said, if I'm one of those teams, I see talent there. I need talent to, get my team out of drafting number 1 overall every year. He's a guy I'm gonna look forward to get. I can find some plate appearances. You can play that weird development type of thing. Like it's not gonna be the best development track to do this, but I want talent, and he certainly has that. It's not just like a power bat either. It's not just like, he's a one-trick pony. He's got a good bat. He's got a good glove. And like, yeah, talked about here. He was the folk hero in the World Baseball Classic. Played well for them. So actually, did he get the I could be wrong. Did he get the very first hit? Because I think their team was the first that played.
I think he might have. But yeah, he was playing for Taiwan, and yeah, had a good World Baseball Classic, which kind of set him up to have that really good first half of the year in Greensboro.
So I'm with you. I'm protecting him because I don't want to lose him, and there's certainly a chance that you can.
Yeah. Next guy who I think is I've heard some people saying that like they would expect to add him. I think this is another must add guy, and that's Braxton Ashcraft. Ashcraft was eligible in last year's draft, but he was coming off of Tommy John surgery. He hadn't pitched since 2021, and when he did pitch in 2021, it was in high A ball and it wasn't very good, right? So There wasn't a whole lot of data to go off of. No one drafted him, obviously, just stow him away and with all those unknowns. But Braxton Ashcraft came back this season. Pirates were super careful with him. Coming off that Tommy John surgery, he only threw like a little bit over 50 innings this year. 19 starts. He made 19 starts, 52 and a third inning. So you can do the math there. That's like less than 3 innings a start.
Yeah,
but
starts.
Yeah,
Air quotes.
But when he did start, it was really good. Particularly when he reached Altoona the second half of the year. He made 8 starts for Altoona, and he didn't give up a run in 7 of those 8 starts. The stuff is excellent. 96 to 97 with the fastball. He's got a really good curveball to go along with it. And then, a slider changeup combo. So like he's got that starting pitching arsenal. I think he's someone that is possibly like major league bullpen ready right now if you wanted to just stick him in a bullpen. And I think ultimately that's probably where he ends up, just because of that, like those 2 really good pitches that he has. But the Pirates are going to stretch him out and see if they can make him a starter. But someone like this, if Braxton Ashcraft is left exposed in the Rule 5 draft, he will be picked, because there will be a team out there that loves the stuff, and they will put him in their bullpen for the rest of for all of 2024. So I don't think the Pirates allow that to happen. I don't think you can just give up arms like this. Braxton Ashcraft is going to be added to the 40-man roster by Tuesday. I won't guarantee it, but like I would be absolutely shocked if they don't add him.
There's really not a whole lot more to add to what you said. I mean, you're absolutely correct. He is going to get drafted. Where I feel like with Cheng, he probably could get drafted. But I'm more intrigued with Cheng as far as a player and tool set than Ashcraft. But he's absolutely going to get drafted this year and be in someone's bullpen if he's left exposed, like you said. So that's where I'm at too. The Pirates can't afford to lose someone like this. You just protect him, because the Pirates could absolutely be. We could be talking about him in July with the Pirates bullpen.
Yeah.
And it's not as if they don't need arms. Oh no, we have too many arms, guys. We don't need another one. So I absolutely with you. There's some intrigue here. I don't know if it's really as a starter also, but again, you need bullpen arms, and I'm keeping him also.
Yeah, I kind of look at this as like if they added Yerry De Los Santos 2 years ago,
sure,
they're adding Braxton Ashcraft this year, because where Ashcraft is sitting right now is from a developmental standpoint at a similar spot that De Los Santos was in, and Ashcraft looks like the better prospect. Like if you just had to compare the two from where they were at this point in time, Ashcraft's the better prospect.
Yeah.
So they're not letting him go.
I'm with you. I think it would be foolish if they did. Again, like it's not the end of the world if either of these two are drafted, right? It's not the end of the world, but it just doesn't make sense. So you're going to protect those. Whereas kind of like foreshadowing of the next set of guys we'll be talking about here. Who's next?
Yeah. Next, just a couple of names that they were left off last year. Again, eligible this year. Matt Gorski being one. He was a hot name. We talked about Matt Gorski a lot last year at this time of year. And we thought that he was probably going to be added because, there was a lot of national media saying that like, hey, Matt Gorski is one of those top guys that, in this Rule 5 draft that they could see getting picked. And it made sense. Gorski was coming off a really, really good year in Greensboro and Altoona. The issue, though, he wasn't picked last year, and he came back this year, and he really didn't play that well. So,
right,
if he wasn't picked last year, after this season, it was very just pedestrian season for Matt Gorski. 97 weighted runs created plus in Double-A. No one picked him last year. No one's going to pick him this year. I can't imagine. And then the other one here, kind of in the same boat, Malcom Nunez. Malcom Nunez, a little bit different developmentally because he made AAA so young. He's still really young. He's still just 22. But he had a really good season last year, and this year was bad. Like he had a bad year this year. Can't see anybody using up a roster spot on Malcom Nunez. So those are the two I kind of wanted to highlight off of the, it's their second time around type deal. But I don't think either of those guys get added.
Yep.
Because
I'm
there's
with
no
you.
reason to.
Absolutely with you. I had a little bit of intrigue with Nunez coming in this year. Injuries derailed a lot of the season too, and he's a first baseman. You know, you lose out on Malcom Nunez, you're not crying yourself to sleep at all. And honestly,
Well,
the Pirates
need
have to
first
do better
baseman.
than him.
Yeah, I mean, the Pirates need first baseman, so it would be really great if Malcom Nunez could be that guy, but
Right.
based off of last year, doesn't seem to be.
Exactly. So I don't think he gets drafted by anybody. And again, like you're talking, like Mason Martin, there's a lot of controversy. Is he going to get, added or whatnot? And we talked like there's really no reason to, and he wasn't drafted by anybody. And it's like if Mason Martin wasn't, do you really foresee Malcom Nunez getting picked up, especially after the season he had? Probably not. But like you said, that there's youth on his side. I still like him like in the system. I hope he doesn't get drafted, but I'm not also going my way to protect him to keep him there.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, by no means am I giving up on Malcom Nunez.
Right.
But yeah, he's just 22. So and he reached AAA at a really young age. So there's something there, right? I mean, you don't get to AAA that fast with nothing. It's just that yeah, he was bad this year. No one's gonna guarantee a 26-man roster spot to that guy. So no need to protect him. Moving on to the next group there. Newly eligible guys who you may want to consider. We'll start with Enmanuel Terrero because the next guy is going to be the guy we want to talk about the most. But Terrero kind of burst onto the prospect scene a little bit. We talked about him a lot for those early Starbucs in the year because he was off to such a hot start in Bradenton. I think for Terrero, he's just way too far off. Like he had a pretty good year in the Florida State League, but you can't really make that jump from low A ball to the majors. So I don't see Terrero really being considered as a potential pick. So might as well leave him off. He's just too far away.
That's about it. He's just so young, so far away. He's 20 years old. Not even like he hasn't sniffed AA yet. No team is taking a chance on him.
Yeah,
especially
I agree 100%. Yeah, so I don't think there's any need to add Terrero there. But the guy who is kind of this year's Matt Gorski, let's call it, and that's Jase Bowen. Broke out in Greensboro 2020 season, 117 weighted runs created plus. He's still young. He followed up that with a late season promotion to Altoona. He was there for like a week. Then he goes to the Arizona Fall League and plays really well. 855 OPS in the Fall League. I think he hit 4 home runs, showcased his speed. I think he stole 5 bases. He also had he played really good defense.
6 bases.
6 bases, bounced all over the diamond. I know like outfield assists from him. Like he showcased his talents down there in the Arizona Fall League. So you now have this. How old is Jase Bowen? I think he's 22.
He's 23.
Okay, he just
turned September 2nd.
Yep. So Jase Bowen, you've got this 23-year-old. He's got 33 at bats over high A. He clearly possesses some skill sets. 2020 season in high A. He doesn't strike out a ton. He doesn't really walk a ton either. But he's got the speed. He plays the defense. He's versatile. He plays all 3 outfield spots. He can play first base. He can play center field, which this organization doesn't really have a lot of those types of guys. So, Jase Bowen, is he getting added to the 40-man? I say no. And I really just kind of go back to Gorski last year. Like if Gorski wasn't added, I don't see Bowen getting added. Mainly because I just don't think anyone picks him. Like I know, like it was a nice season for Jase Bowen, but I don't know. You pull up any organization in Major League Baseball, you pull up their Fangraphs roster resource page. Every one of those guys, every single team has a 22-year-old who had a 117 weighted runs created plus in high A last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like everybody. Like they all have them. So like, are you dedicating a 26-man roster spot to one of those guys? I wouldn't. Like if the Pirates were picking in the Rule 5 draft, right? And we know that the Pirates obviously they probably need to go out there and get an outfielder this offseason. I don't know if it necessarily needs to be like a starting outfielder, but they need to probably get something. If they added a Jase Bowen type guy to their 26-man roster, I'd be like, this isn't it. This isn't what I was talking about when I said acquire an outfielder. So, now the caveat in the Rule 5 draft is you've got some really bad teams who are picking too, who can maybe use it. I don't know. I don't see it. I just don't think Jase Bowen is as unique as some Pirates fans maybe think he is. And that's not a knock to Jase Bowen. I think he's had an outstanding career. I want him in the organization next year. I just don't see how any team would pick the guy.
There's just a lot of reasons. Here's the thing. Like, there's just a lot of reasons not to. Sure, there's intrigue, right? He's got power, he's got speed, he's had a fine season in the AFL. He's really coming out there and showcasing what he has, right? So there's a lot of buzz around his name. And I guess there's a lot of buzz around his name for Pirates fans. There's a lot of buzz around his name nationally and other teams. Like we talk about the AFL. All the teams are there, they can scout, right? So they're seeing him also. So maybe he's on other people's radar at this point. You know, I know Gorski, that he wasn't protected. We talked about him, like reasons not to. He went undrafted. I can certainly see Jase Bowen being undrafted as well. But you know what? There's that small chance, like you're talking about. There could be that one team that's like, you know what? Here's our biggest need in the organization. Let's add him. Let's see what happens, right? And whatever. Pirates have 37 guys on the 40-man. If you're adding these two that we talked about, which seems like shoo-ins, you're at 39. Are you filling it with Jase Bowen? So are you also not like planning on drafting anybody? Do you think there's nobody out there that's going to be more intriguing in the Rule 5 than a Jase Bowen that you have to fill up this 40-man? Are you also looking who's on the 40-man saying, okay, Henry Davis, Connor Joe, Joshua Palacios, Brian Reynolds, Canaan Smith-Njigba, Jack Sawinski? Like, are you saying, you know what? Here's what we'll do then. We'll add Jase Bowen and we'll DFA Canaan Smith-Njigba. We'll DFA Joshua Palacios. I mean, you could make an argument. I'm not going to say you can't, but is that really the move? You know what Joshua Palacios did at 21 in high A? I'm sorry, at 22 at high A, like Jase Bowen? He had a Jase Bowen season. Like, that's what we're talking about. Like, I feel like Jase Bowen's peak is almost like a fourth outfielder, like we was talked about. Like, the best version you're probably going to get if Jase Bowen hits is a fourth outfielder. Are you that worried? Why don't you just say, you know what? If he gets drafted, congratulations, Jase. You had a great season. I thank you for everything that you did. Here's to your success for that organization, because they need you. Because honestly, we don't. What we need right now are players that we know are going to be good. That spot that's open right now, that's a free agent that's going to make your team better, not a hope that Jase Bowen might be a fourth outfielder. Like, does that make sense? So it's not, it is, but like, I'm not trying to knock so much on Jase, but it's also just where this organization is and where it needs to be. And you can't worry about a Jase Bowen at this point in time, not for the 2024 Pittsburgh Pirates. You just can't. And if you're making that argument, get it out of your head, move forward, and stop this line of thinking. Be better.
Yeah, I mean, if you are projecting Jase Bowen to top out as a fourth outfielder, you can't use up a 40-man spot on him right now, because you need to go out there and you need to use that spot to go get a better person. You need to re-sign Andrew McCutchen at some point too. There's a 40-man spot,
and there's 40. So the Canaan Smith-Njigba you're talking about, probably maybe getting DFA'd. Joshua Palacios maybe getting you know what I mean? Like, the guys that are ahead of him in the pecking order, their job's not safe either.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't see I don't see adding Jase Bowen. As I kind of keep going back to Matt Gorski, like similar probably caliber prospects at the time of Rule 5 eligibility. Gorski didn't get added. Bowen probably not going to get added. And yeah, like if Bowen gets taken, there may be like the Oakland Athletics could go out there and draft Jase Bowen, right? And if that happens, he could get 300 bats in the majors next year. Good for him. Jase Bowen's not going to be on the Pirates next year. So yeah, I don't add him. That's kind of where I'm sitting at right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Like let me say that. Like I could see a reason why you would protect him. I personally wouldn't, and I don't think the Pirates will, but I wouldn't say that it's like not earned of him. You know, if this was last year or 2 years ago, like Jase Bowen's probably getting added. But the team's in a little bit of a different spot right now, and I think I would just prefer them to go a different route.
Absolutely. I think I still would be kind of upset if they added him. And again, it's less about him and it's more of this organization. Why do you keep stockpiling this at best mid-tier talent? Like, go get better. Start shopping in that different part of the store that you keep talking about instead of protecting Jase Bowens.
I think it just depends on what they project him as. Like if the Pirates think Jase Bowen can be like a major league center fielder, then you protect him. But and I don't know if that's what they think of him. I don't know if I think of him as like a starting center fielder in the majors. But if they do, then they're going to hold on to him. If they think he's a fourth outfielder, then they're not going to protect him.
Sure. Cool.
Yeah, but check out that article. It went up last night. It's on the website. Kind of details and breaks down everybody who's eligible. So yeah, check it out.
There's a lot of articles.
A lot of time
because you know what, Jim, we have a blog now.
Yeah, you guys gotta check out the blog. It's I'm not gonna lie, it's impressive. Everyone's contributing. Kenny, Neil, they've both written some really in-depth things that are worth reading. So definitely check it out.
All right. So there's that. And I guess we move on to our last little topic here. Probably keep it pretty short, but this is one of the things we've been craving and discussing because Pirates fans lost out on seeing Oneil Cruz this entire year, right after the injury. Didn't get to see him come back and see what he is. So, like, the only last hope is winter ball. And basically, from what I'm seeing is he's healthy, he's good, he's ready to play, and he's basically waiting on permission from the Pirates to say, go. So, what do you think about that, Jim?
Man, I'll say this. Like, if Oneil Cruz is healthy, Oneil Cruz needs to be playing real baseball games. There's only so much that like batting practice and things like that can give you. You need to see live in-game pitching. And Oneil Cruz hasn't seen that since early April, right? So I'm of the mindset like if he's healthy and he's able to play baseball games, the Pirates need to let him play in lead on. One, so he can get those much needed reps. And I would love to see him get 100 at bats. Like, let him get some run time down there. One, he needs the at bats. He needs to see the pitching. And two, I want to watch him. I want to see some Spanish announcer just lose his mind when Oneil Cruz hits like a 480-foot bomb off of some 42-year-old middle reliever who throws 79 miles an hour. I want to see that content, right? So, yeah. So let's do it. If he's healthy, let it happen. The guy has to play.
Jim's over here I have a TikTok account to keep up. I need Oneil Cruz back so I get those highlights. But no, for real, I'm with you. He's lost out so much baseball that this is a way of getting him back into it because there's really nothing else. It's this and then spring training. So I would love to get him some actual baseball games to finish out this year to head into next year. I guess looking at this from the Pirates side, there's that concern, there's the worry, we know how the Pirates are. This isn't a controlled environment. So you're letting this guy go to the Wolves after this injury, after he missed the entire season, right? And just saying, like, he's all yours. I mean, to a degree, right? I mean, the Pirates can have some input, but really, really not much at all. So, like, that's the worry. And again, like, we know how the Pirates operate, we know how they are. They love to control everything. So, I don't know if that's what they're waiting on. I don't know if it's like, let's hang out in Bradenton this offseason type of thing. But I am with you. He needs to be down there in Dominican playing a lead on for all kinds of reasons, and I hope it happens.
Yeah.
I really, really do.
Yeah, and John Parado wrote a good article on this. GM meetings were last week before they got cut short, apparently because everyone got food sickness or something. But
yeah, wash your hands after you poop, people.
Right, whatever. I don't know what's going on in the GM meetings, but he caught up with Ben Cherington, asked him some questions here. He does say he's doing really well. Excuse me. He's doing really well. The updates we've gotten over the past couple of weeks have been encouraging. He's doing all the baseball activities. He's gotten in some basic simulated game type situations. He's feeling good physically. We'll continue to take it one game at a time. Apparently, the Pirates were hoping to get Oneil Cruz into a couple of Arizona Fall League games, is what's being reported here. But the Arizona Fall League ended last week, so obviously that didn't happen. Instructional leagues going on in Florida. So he may get some runtime there, but again, it's like instructional league. Yeah. But he brings up the idea of playing in lead-on and says the Pirates have discussed it, but they wouldn't be able to control the game environment. And that is one thing, like when you're playing in lead-on, like those are independently operated teams. The Major League Baseball teams can kind of give those teams like here's how you should handle these guys type of situation. But the Pirates don't make any decisions like when it comes to in games, right? For Lise, who is Oneil Cruz's team. But it says here another possibility is Cruz playing in some simulated games against minor leaguers at the academy in the Dominican Republic. So I don't know. I'm just saying, out of all of those options, your best talent that you're going to face is in lead on. It also is the only outlet provided there where us as fans can see what he's doing. All those other things are kind of behind closed doors on back baseball field somewhere. So yeah, give me Oneil Cruz and lead on. Let me see him play 100, 20 games or so. He needs to get in-game pitching experience, like off of pitchers. And yeah, I just want to see him. I want to see him hit nukes, DiNardo. It's been way too long since I've seen an Oneil Cruz nuke. And we're not going to see nukes if he's hitting at the academy in the Dominican. We're not going to see nukes if he's hitting at Pirate City. We need to see nukes, and we need to see it in lead-on action.
I know, man. And honestly, like, as a fan, as someone who craves content, right? As someone who just loves Oneil Cruz and wants to see him hit nukes, that's what you want, right? But I guess somewhat to a degree, like as on the baseball side, I see the argument not to. I do see it. I don't think it's the correct argument, but I do see it. The whole control thing. And again, we know the Pirates are all about control. And this is their top guy. We can't let anything happen to him. We're going to control everything. We're going to control the time he wakes up. We're going to control who drives him anywhere, like everything, right? Jeez, excuse me. So, like, I understand that. But what I do think is for best for Oneil Cruz is being a lead on. Correct. And that's good for the fans also. So hopefully we see it, but I have my doubts. I really do. And that's where I'll pretty much just leave that, I guess.
Yep.
So cool. Outside of that, there really wasn't a whole lot, I guess, to talk about so far. As you mentioned, the GM meetings were there. That seems to get like a lot of the legwork done, started into like the winter meetings. They were cut short, so I don't know what that means. But certainly enough discussion, especially if you're a Cubs fan. Certainly a lot of discussion there. But yeah, I mean, again, like you'll hear more and more rumors up until the winter meetings, and the winter meetings will happen, and we'll see what happens there. But with that said, I mean, Jim will be there. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's my first time at winter meetings. I know you've been a couple of times, so you'll have to show me and Cody. Cody will be along with us too. You'll have to show us the ropes.
Yeah, I don't know how much I'll be showing the ropes because I'm sure whatever I've seen before is way different now after COVID, anyways. But yeah, it'll be a fun time in Nashville. Hopefully, a lot of stuff happens. That's what I'll say. I just hope it's not a dud.
Yeah.
But
hopefully, it's an active winter meetings, and hopefully the Pirates are doing stuff.
That too, not just winning the #1 overall pick.
Yeah, that would be nice too.
That would. I'm not going to say I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. Appreciate everyone for watching. So Cody will be on today with some more MLB The Show. We'll be back with NS9 Live. You'll be back with some. Right? You're gonna again this year. Wait, you do cardboard and you have your gaming? Are you having both? You have another cardboard? One was just shown and released last night. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Jim wasted $250. That was a highlight.
Yeah, that was just the worst box of cards I ever opened. So it's also really quick. It's only 4 cards if you want to go check it out. But no, I'll do Out of the Park on Thursday. And then there'll be some sort of NS9 cardboard this week.
Okay. So there will be more cardboard. And then we're debuting the next new show this Friday. So if you haven't checked out the last one, right, Cody is a one-on-one interview style, bucking around. So he had Ford on to buck around with. And this Friday, as it seems like we'll probably alternate these 2 new shows, will be the second newest show to the edition and lineup of NS9. So check that out this Friday at 2:00. And then outside of that, I don't think we have anything else planned.
No, I think that's it.
So just
bucking around was fun though. Yeah, if you haven't checked that, like it's not really Pirates talk. There's some Pirates talk in there, but no, it was just a good conversation between Cody and Fort. I really enjoyed they had a segment at the end where Michael McHenry had to pick if something was a pirate or a fort, and it was well done.
He did better than I expected to.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite.
Some of those I was like, I don't know what the hell this is, and like it seemed as if almost he knew it too. He was very confident in a lot of those answers that he got.
Yeah. So check it out.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, once again, appreciate all of you for watching live. Appreciate you all watching after the show and on podcast form. But we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.